Today, everyone, I want to take a look at the Rock and Roll Express. The Rock and Roll Express were a great tag team in the 80s and even into the 90s, a part of the Smoky Mountain Wrestling Company that Jim Cornette would have going on for a brief 5 years in the wrestling business. Rock and Roll Express, of course, I believe are 8-time NWA Tag Team Champions, maybe 9. Actually, I think it's 9 now. They won it a few years ago, a part of Billy Corgan's NWA. So I believe they are 9-time now. I kind of forgot about that, but Ricky and Robert have been doing it for many years. Ricky's still doing it on his own in the wrestling business, tagging with his son, Kerry Morton, where Hoot, as Ricky would call Robert, has retired pretty much and is enjoying the post-wrestling lifestyle of just relaxation. So the Rock and Roll Express, a great tag team in the 80s. I think everyone loved the Rock and Roll Express one way or another. Either you loved watching them chase the tag titles or you loved seeing them get their asses kicked by the likes of the Midnight Express or the Four Horsemen. And I thought I'd take a look today at some of these magazine covers of Ricky and Robert because I have them in a section because there is quite a bit of Ricky and Robert footage for the magazine covers. So let's take a look at one of the most exciting tag teams for double team moves and incredible flips and drop kicks and anything else you can think of back in the 80s that was before its time, the Rock and Roll Express. We have here this July 1986 cover of PWI with Ricky and Robert on the cover. The Rock and Roll Express, #1 with a bullet. It's a nice looking cover. Here we get the wrestler from November 85. Morton and Gibson defeat the Russians, rocking all over the world. This was Ricky and Robert's first tag team title win in the NWA for the Mid-Atlantic area, right? They left the UWF, well, I guess then it was Mid-South Wrestling, where they had a feud with the Midnight Express there, and they ended up coming to the NWA, and they got into it right off the bat with Nikita Koloff and Ivan Koloff, and a big tag title feud happened, and the Rock and Roll Express won the belts from the Koloffs, losing them back to the Koloffs, and then winning them again at Starrcade 85 from the Koloffs in a steel cage. Well, I guess it was more so Crusher Khrushchev and Ivan Koloff. Or was it Nikita then? I don't remember. It may have been Nikita. I can't remember the 85, and I haven't watched Starrcade 85 in a very long time. So I'd have to rewatch that. It may have been Nikita and Ivan, now that I think about it. Morton and Gibson regained the NWA World Tag Titles. There's a good shot of them there with the belts. And that's from Inside Wrestling, December 1986. Those, of course, being the classic tag team title belts that the likes of Ole Anderson and Gene Anderson would have, or Ole Anderson and Stan Hansen, or Sergeant Slaughter and Don Kernodle and Rick Steamboat and Jay Youngblood. So those belts didn't last much longer, though, because they brought out these new NWA tag team titles, which we see Ricky and Robert having around their waists here. This, of course, from Inside Wrestling, October 87. The Rock and Roll Express win their 4th NWA title. How long can they avoid the Road Warriors? Well, the Road Warriors and the Rock and Roll Express never did battle that I know of on television for the World Tag Team titles. The Road Warriors were good guys at this time, feuding with the likes of the Midnight Express and feuding with the likes of the Four Horsemen. And Ricky and Robert were kind of, doing their own thing. They were either also feuding with the Midnight Express or they had their matches with Manny Fernandez and Rick Rude. So they never lined up. The Road Warriors would end up going heel and wrestling the Midnight Express for the tag titles and winning them off them, but never the Rock and Roll Express. Ricky and Robert ended up losing the tag titles, of course, to Arn Anderson and Tully Blanchard with the help of the Midnight Express. Morton and Gibson take a trip to Bad Street, USA. The Rock and Roll Express versus the Fabulous Freebirds. It's from November 86 of the wrestler. The Freebirds and the Rock and Roll Express would end up feuding again in 1990, a part of WCW, when the Rock and Roll Express returned to that company And the tag team scene in 1990 for WCW was incredible. You had the Steiners, you had Doom, you had Arn Anderson and Bobby Eaton, you had the Wild Eyed Southern Boys, the Midnight Express. It was just a crazy amount of tag teams, and you add the Rock and Roll Express to it. A lot of good matches on those pay-per-views in 1990. For PWI, May 85, we get the Rock and Roll Express and the Fabulous Ones. Now, look at that. The Fabulous Ones. Who's that? But that is, yes, Sweet Stan Lane. Stan Lane on the cover with the Rock and Roll Express. Of course, Stan Lane would feud with the Rock and Roll Express for years as a part of the Midnight Express in the NWA/WCW, and even in Smoky Mountain Wrestling as a part of the Heavenly Bodies with Dr. Tom Pritchard. And they had many battles with the Rock and Roll Express for the Smoky Mountain Wrestling Tag Team titles back in 1993. Here we see a good shot of the Rock and Roll Express with those classic NWA Tag Team titles around their waist. This is from Inside Wrestling, February 1986. And as three former championship teams face the battle of their lives. This cover always irked me a bit because you got the Rock and Roll Express with their tag titles. You got the Road Warriors with the AWA tag titles. Why couldn't you find a photo of Sheik and Volkov with the WWF tag titles? It would have been a perfect photo op to have all the gold in one magazine cover, but I guess they didn't have a good shot with the belts on Sheik and Volkov, or else I wouldn't know why they wouldn't use it. Wrestling Superstars, Spring 87, we get a Superstar Dream match, Rick Morton versus Robert Gibson. Now, that match has happened, and it's happened many times, but not in 1987, of course. Though I didn't know this, I always thought that in 1991, when Ricky Morton turned heel and joined the York Foundation and became Richard Morton, that was the first time we were ever going to see Ricky versus Robert. And that happened at the Great American Bash 91. And it was not a very good match. It sucked. The match was not good. I remember there was like a lot of excitement back then thinking, man, the Rock and Roll Express are going to wrestle each other. I was 10 years old when this match happened. I was super bummed that I missed the pay-per-view and I didn't see it because I thought in my head that it was going to be an incredible encounter, but it really wasn't that good. I don't think they gelled well against each other in matches. And that was it for Robert. I think he hurt his knee again and then left the company, and we didn't see Robert Gibson again until Smoky Mountain Wrestling when he went there on his own, and then Ricky would follow when he left WCW in 1992 to reform the Rock and Roll Express in Smoky Mountain Wrestling. What I didn't know is that back in like 1989, when Ricky and Robert left the NWA in 88, they went to Memphis. That's where they originally came from, Memphis Wrestling. They were there to take over where the Fabulous Ones left off at, I believe. The Rock and Roll Express were supposed to be like the next hit tag team there that all the girls loved and all the guys loved, and they were going to do, amazing stuff there in Memphis, which they did. They had some great matches with Randy Savage and Lanny Poffo and such back in 85. But the Rock and Roll Express, maybe it was 84 with Savage and Poffo, because Savage jumped to the company in 85, jumped to New York. But the Rock and Roll Express did break up in 1989. Ricky went heel. Ricky became a bad guy. He grew a beard in. That's how you know you're a heel in professional wrestling. If you're a baby face, you have that shaved face. And when you go heel, you grow a beard to say, yeah, that's right, I'm a heel now. I'm a bad guy. Boo me. So Ricky was a villain. Robert came in as a baby face. It was a tag match. It was Ricky Morton. And, I forget who his partner was. But I want to say Robert Gibson and Jerry Lawler were partners. And Robert ended up turning. Robert went heel and joined Ricky Morton. And they became a heel version of the Rock and Roll Express. That's insane, right? Like the Rock and Roll Express is villains, but it didn't last long. Rock and Roll Express ended up coming back to WCW, like I said, in 1990. They wrestled all over. They wrestled in AWA. They wrestled in Memphis. They wrestled, anywhere you can think of. There was even a company, I want to say, that was in Chicago. It was like a one-off, but I'm pretty sure. I think it was a one-off, but it was the Rock and Roll Express against the British Bulldogs. That even happened in 1989. So Incredible stuff there with the Rock and Roll Express. They did it all, really. And here we have the wrestler 1986. Rick Morton challenges Ric Flair and asks his fans, should I quit the Rock and Roll Express? All right, let's talk about this. I watched a timeline, a kayfabe commentaries timeline on 1986 with the Rock and Roll Express. Sean Oliver was interviewing Ricky and Robert. Ricky did most of the talking as usual because Ricky's a better talker than Robert. And we found out something. We found out something big. Dusty Rhodes did not like the Rock and Roll Express. Dusty Rhodes did not like that the Rock and Roll Express were more popular than he was. So how do you fix that? You try to destroy the Rock and Roll Express. And how do you do that? By giving Ricky Morton a World Heavyweight Championship and then firing Robert Gibson. That was actually the plan by the sounds of things. Ricky Morton was supposed to win the NWA World Championship sometime in 1986. When do I think it would have happened? The Great American Bash. What happened instead? Dusty Rhodes won the NWA World Championship and held it for 6 days, losing it back to Ric Flair. I honestly think the plan was to have Ricky Morton take the belt that summer at the Bash in a cage with Flair and probably hold it for 6 days, maybe hold it for 2 weeks, because these Bash tours, it was almost like kind of like a gift to the wrestling fans. It's like you're going to see stuff you normally don't see because we're doing this for like 2 months, and there's probably going to be title changes, or there's going to be things going on, and then by the time we get back to September and whatnot, we're going to go back to our regularly scheduled programming of what we're doing. That's why sometimes you saw some, weird things like title changes out of nowhere in the summer. So I think that was the plan, to have Ricky Morton win the belt that summer and then eventually lose it faster than he probably held it, that's for sure. And that was going to be the end of the Rock and Roll Express. And that would have been, probably the end of Ricky Morton too. Maybe Ricky wouldn't have stayed much longer. But Ricky Morton said no to all that. He said, I am not doing that to Robert. I am going to stay faithful to Robert in this tag team. You're not going to do him dirty. And the Rock and Roll Express are going to keep, doing our thing. And they did. And they ended up winning the tag titles again, like I said. But Dusty, Dusty was very, what's the word? Vindictive? Maybe, is that the word I want to use for that? He didn't like it when people were more popular than him, it seemed. And Ricky Morton definitely was, as well as Robert. November 86, Sports Review Wrestling, the Rock and Roll Express splits up. Who's to blame? So this is when the R&Rs were done. Ricky Morton and Robert left in early 1988. They left the NWA. They came back maybe 5 months later because they went off and did their thing. They went and did they were wrestling in Memphis. That's when they were wrestling as babyface tag team in Memphis, feuding with a heel tag team of the Rockers, Shawn Michaels and Marty Jannetty. That they were the heels, feuding with the Rock and Roll Express, who were the babyfaces in Memphis in 1988, before the Rockers jumped back, went to the WWF for the second time, because their first time in 87 lasted like 24 hours and they got fired. So Rock and Roll Express then leave Memphis, come back to the NWA, and I want to say summer of 88, probably July maybe. And they're there for a month maybe, and Robert leaves. Robert's gone. Robert ends up forming his own Rock and Roll Express tag team with, get this, out of all people, Bob Holly. Yes, that Bob Holly. Hardcore Holly, Spark Plug Bob Holly, Thurman Sparky Plug, whatever you want to call him. Robert Gibson and Bob Holly were a tag team called the Rock and Roll Express, pretty much. That's what they were. Which is funny because Bob Holly would also be in the Midnight Express in 1998 with Bodacious Bart. Bob, of course, was Bombastic Bob, managed by Jim Cornette, and they too were NWA Tag Team Champions in the WWF in 1998, feuding with the Rock and Roll Express. You can't make this stuff up, right? That's insane how this goes full circle at times with wrestling. But, the R&R broke up. Ricky Morton stayed in the NWA on his own. He was tagging with Nikita Koloff, tagging with Brad Armstrong, doing that, and then he eventually left the NWA, I want to say, in early 89. I think he was gone by then, and that was it. Ricky went off to Memphis again. That's when he became a heel, like I said. I wish I could remember who he was tagging with. It may have been... It may have been Austin Idol. I don't know. I know it was a bigger name guy in Memphis at the time. I'm pretty sure. I don't think it was Eddie Gilbert. I don't think it was him, but I don't know. I know there's an article in a magazine I read recently of that match of the Rock and Roll Express feuding with each other in Memphis, with Robert as a good guy and Ricky as the bad guy in that tag match. And then Robert turns and goes heel too. But I don't remember what magazine that was right now. But yes, Rock and Roll Express, of course, 1995. Smoky Mountain Wrestling dies, and Robert and Ricky do the indie stuff. Actually, they go to WCW. Sorry, they go to WCW 96 for a bit, appear on Nitro a few times, but then they're gone. They're done. You know, they're out of there. They weren't the same tag team there that they were years earlier. You know, it was a new era in WCW in 1996. Ricky and Robert did the indies and such. 1997, Ricky Morton even stopped off in the ECW, and he and Tommy Rich wrestled the Gangsters in a match, and then Ricky wrestled Tommy Rich on his own. I want to say Ricky also wrestled Stevie Richards there, and then that was it. Found Robert again, did the indies, and then ended up in the WWF in 1998 as a part of Jim Cornette's NWA, came in as the tag team champions, lost them to the Headbangers, turned babyface, feuded with the Midnight Express, wrestled on a pay-per-view at Backlash 98 against Midnight Express, losing, of course. They were even at WrestleMania 14. Ricky and Robert were actually in a WrestleMania, so they did that finally. And then, that was it. I think they left the WWF in 98. They went back to the Indies. I think they appeared in TNA for the weekly pay-per-views once or twice, maybe. I'm pretty sure they were there for that. And then they went to Billy Corgan's NWA and won the tag titles just back right before COVID hit. So 2019, I believe it would have been late 2019. So yeah, the Rock and Roll Express, a great tag team. It makes you wonder, would teams like the Young Bucks be around today, or the Motor City Machine Guns, if a tag team like the Rock and Roll Express didn't exist in the 80s. So, big fan. I am a big fan of the Rock and Roll Express. I love them. They're awesome. I always love watching their matches still to this day, especially their matches with the Midnight Express. Those are always entertaining and enjoyable to watch. And the Heavenly Bodies and Smoky Mountain, whether it's Dr. Tom and Sweet Stan, or it's Gigolo Jimmy Del Rey and Dr. Tom Pritchard, just great stuff. Such amazing stuff. All right, guys, this is my video today for the Rock and Roll Express. If you were an R&R fan, let me know. Tell me your favorite matches. Or did you enjoy the single run? Did you enjoy Richard Morton in the York Foundation? Did you enjoy their Smoky Mountain Wrestling stuff, or did you even see it? If not, go on the internet and find it on YouTube. Check it out. You will enjoy it. All right, guys. By the way, once again, my magazines I ordered last Saturday, remember I told you about in the last video, still not here today. It's Tuesday, still not here. I messaged the guy on eBay, so I hope he gets back to me to let me know if he even shipped them out yet. They're supposed to be here by Thursday. The 28th is the final day. So if I don't get them by then, I'm going to have to make a claim and get my money back. I put $100 in for these damn magazines. So I will definitely put a claim in and get my money back if I don't hear from them, or if I don't get them by the 28th, because that's just bullshit. You know, have a little dignity and respect when you're selling online, people. Don't be a douchebag and just not ship it out or take the money, right? That's bullshit. That's Bush League, I tell you. All right, guys, until I do my next one, I'll talk to you later.